Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can follow for more videos. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We are in a very weird market, my friend. Like you honestly don't understand exactly how insane everything is. Over the last few years, you've heard me say multiple times, if we had this news in 2017, if we had received this news in 2018, 2019, oh my goodness, the market would have gone insane. It's just a bit weird now. That's kind of my mindset. Everything that's happening is a bit too weird for me personally. I'm not sure if everyone else is also there as well. The amount of Bitcoin buying that we've been hearing, that we've been seeing, that we've had news about should have, by this point, pushed us well over $138,000 per coin per Bitcoin. The institutions aren't just buying, they're buying everything. We've gone over that news a lot, so we don't have to directly reiterate it once again. However, it's getting a little bit weird. It's getting a little bit odd. No. I think we've been here for quite some time now. News like this should easily propel prices by a minimum of 2 to 4%. I'm not asking for a 15% jump. I'm not asking for a 20%, 22% in one day. But a logical 2 to 4% rise in price would make a lot of sense. Goldman Sachs, one of the largest banks on the planet, has revealed that they are holding $418 million in Bitcoin ETFs, including nearly 7 million shares of the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust called iBit. A couple of months ago, we started receiving news from banks and institutions and companies and governments who have also been buying large amounts of Bitcoin ETF shares. And what happened back then, what's happening now, is that these companies were obliged to actually report and give their numbers to the US SEC. A lot of people began to look online for these numbers to see who exactly had invested in Bitcoin ETFs, because we were only getting smaller companies who were actually in the news on CNBC to announce what they had done. And then people began to find out. They were like, wait, these larger companies also have large amounts of Bitcoin as well. In a recent SEC filing, leading investment banking giant Goldman Sachs disclosed substantial positions in several Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, signaling the fund's continued interest in the crypto sector. This revelation comes at a time when the overall activity in 13-F Bitcoin ETF filings has been relatively quiet, and it's not quiet. Hearing that Goldman Sachs has $500 million worth of Bitcoin, I wish that people just actually lived in reality. Whenever we get everything has to constantly go higher than the last thing. If we hear that people are putting in $22 million into Bitcoin, it makes gigantic news. The moment that a company that announces they're buying $54 million, no one cares about anything lower than that. Anything lower than that is like, you didn't have any more money to put into the market. When we get things like MicroStrategy buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin, anything else lower than that, I remember I told you multiple days, anything lower than that, anything that makes you have to dig to find that kind of news. We heard recently, this was 3 months ago? I don't remember. MicroStrategy purchased, I think, another $300 or $400 million worth of Bitcoin. I forgot the exact number. Every other time before, the market has moved up from just hearing that MicroStrategy purchased. Prices didn't move that day. Prices didn't move at all upon hearing about that purchase. Even crazier, when we recently heard that MicroStrategy had purchased $2 billion, $2 billion freaking dollars worth of Bitcoin, I think the price went down that day. People are reporting that the numbers we're hearing aren't as significant as the first time. One of the largest banks on the planet, we know, owns nearly $500 million worth of Bitcoin, and no one seems to care. No one seems to care at all. No one. No one's paying attention. This isn't interesting news. This isn't like people reported on it, but when you look at the actual market sentiment, no one cares. I don't get it. Bitcoin ETF filings, they say, have been relatively quiet compared to the first quarter of the year, making Goldman Sachs' disclosure particularly noteworthy. Sure, I guess. So this was news that was all over the place. People are pretending that it didn't happen. Can anyone explain to me? Now, don't. I want no cups, no handles, no Bart, no Marge. Give me an actual answer. Because you can tell me nonsense until the cows come home. I don't care what you do. It doesn't make any sense. Over the course of the last a good year, the market doesn't move on good news at all. It logically doesn't make any sense. Is it possible for people to like hyper mega control the market to the point where like any good news has no effect on, now rounding down here, on 100 to 150 million people in the Bitcoin market, that people can just hear this kind of news and go, wow, well, that's a huge number. Yeah. So that's the Goldman Sachs, one of the largest banks on the planet. It's holding an enormous amount of Bitcoin ETF shares. Okay. No one cares. Let's move on. Also, this has been happening a lot recently. I haven't covered it, but here we go. I think it's time. For those of you who don't know Worldcoin, do not buy it. Do not own it. It is probably the worst thing on the entire planet right now. Worldcoin is a project created by the same people who were trying to get you to believe that AI is the greatest thing on the entire planet and that you need to invest in it, when we are nowhere near any type of AI revolution, irrespective of what the CEOs on CNBC are trying to get you to believe. The problem with Worldcoin, among many, is that they're trying to become the next Bitcoin. That's not the problem explicitly, but they're lying to people saying that they're going to change the world and they need you to do it. Why do they need you to do it? Because in order to receive Worldcoin, you have to have your eye scanned. Now, you may sit there and go, well, my phone scans my face, or my computer, or even my girlfriend. She's always looking at my face, or whatever words you kind of want to throw out there. The problem is that they're collecting biometric data from the poorest people on the planet. That's the kicker. So Worldcoin has been banned in many other countries, and they've been trying over the last year to launch in many other places around the world, and a lot of people, especially in countries where the average citizen makes an okay wage, a livable wage, it's not working out there. So, and this isn't tinfoil hat, this isn't speculation, this isn't allegedly. I've been looking at the news for over the course of a year, and you can do the exact same and find the exact same news that I've been finding. The people from Worldcoin have basically been targeting very poor countries and or very poor areas in countries that are struggling economically. And the thing that they're saying is that, well, you missed Bitcoin, you missed Ethereum, you missed XRP. Therefore, this is the brand new coin. And they call it Worldcoin because it's meant to go around the world. The problem is that, and this is the problem we've been having for a while with this project, is that it's very scammy. So a lot of people over the course of the last year in many countries have stood online waiting for hours to get their eyes scanned because this company is promising them several days worth of pay. But now it's coming to the point where it's everywhere in the news and they're hyper trying to advertise to make you believe and make you think that this project is worthy or that it's not the scummiest thing on the entire planet. Worldcoin, a crypto project co-founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, arrived in Ecuador in June. Due to its growing popularity, Ecuadorian authorities have warned their citizens about the project. They should just ban it, as many other countries have. This is not decentralized. This is not helping people. They're collecting people's biometric data for their own use. When at any point were you buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and someone said, hey, I need your eyeball scan and I would love to have a couple of your fingerprints. And if you could tell us your height and your blood type, that would also be... They're collecting biometric data for their own systems, and the only people who they can target are the most vulnerable. Most recently, Ecuador's central bank issued a press release reiterating the country's stance on cryptocurrencies and reminding users of the risks involving the illegal use of digital assets as a payment method. In June, Worldcoin announced that its World ID verifications would be coming to Ecuador at the end of the month. The verifications happened at 6 different locations. The project has gained popularity among Ecuadorians in the last month and a half, with hundreds of people reportedly queuing, standing in line daily outside of Worldcoin spots to scan their irises. I saw, and shame, and I mean, it goes worse than shame. I saw something, I believe, was it CNBC? Some company recently had an expose on them, and they were talking about this company's trying to save the world. You people are disgusting and should actually be ashamed of yourselves. It was some major news publication who had like one of those videos online talking about how great and awesome, and it's like, I can't say those words on YouTube. However, local reports revealed that many are using the system and agreeing to be verified out of necessity, which is something that's been happening over the course of the last year and some change since this thing was started. The companies who they're targeting are very poor or do not have a very robust system, and they are targeting people just in places where they know that they can take advantage of them. Controversy arose after Twitter reports claimed that many people going through the scanning process were not informed well enough to consent to the verification. A Twitter user stated he saw over 50 people dressing quite humbly as they lined up in a certain district. Here's a photo right here. After inquiring about the reasons for the line, the user allegedly received answers like, "These people must be millionaires, and sometimes people are crazy." As reported by another publication, users received $30 worth of Worldcoin that they can't even use after these people scanned their biometric data. It says, and I quote, "In exchange for the iris scan with an orb machine, I was given 13 Worldcoin tokens worth $29.59, which I deposited into a digital wallet I created for this purpose." This was said by a 19-year-old to a local media outlet. Additionally, they can get up to $100 if they refer other people who are in need of money and are desperate and have no other way to pay for their rent. It's actually insane. It's actually and one of the other, how do I say this? In the beginning, the problem was that a lot of people, because people in crypto, 90% of people out there, just gross. A lot of people in the beginning were trying to, what's the word? Promote is the word. Promote this coin on their YouTube channels and also on Twitter, telling people that it was like the best new thing. You know how long I've been in this market? And for those of you who listen, I mean literal high five. There was already a coin called Worldcoin literally before this that came out in 2012 or 2013. They copied the name because you could have called it anything else. You call it a coin because you want people to associate it with crypto and with Bitcoin. And all they're doing is stealing people's biometric data. This happened before a number of years. There have been multiple projects that have happened very similar to this. There was one years ago that wanted people's email addresses. There was one that wanted people that like, I think you had to send in a photo of yourself to the company. It's just for use for the company. Anyway, I'm glad that a lot of people within crypto have shied away from it, but it's only because, not that they realize that it was a scam, because people in crypto will totally jump on anything that's a scam if they think that they can make money. People have shied away from it because the coin's project hasn't moved like they thought that it would move. So please tell yourself, tell your friends, tell your family to avoid this at all costs. If you get a chance, find the other news articles. It's been happening for a while. They're only like targeting the actual most vulnerable. It's like, it's actually disgusting. Like, it's really insane what's happening. Because if for those of you who don't know, in many cases, there are many places around the world, I don't know the particular thing for Ecuador. But understand that there are places where many people make the equivalent of $2 to $3 per day, $5 per day. If someone tells you, hey, I can get you enough to, feed your family, feed yourself, and go buy a new shirt, people are going to do it. People don't understand what's being done. Anyway, yeah, this is popping up back in the news again. And whoever wrote this article, thank you for actually not getting on your knees and worshiping, what's his name, Sam Altman, which is also something that a lot of people in crypto are doing now. It's so cringe. You have to stop. It's really bad. People, stop worshiping rich people. I don't get it. I sincerely don't get it. That's the don't buy it. I'm literally trying to save you news. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in this news made no splash, nothing. No one paid attention to it. People were acting like this wasn't a thing at all. Morgan Stanley, another gigantic financial institution, in their 13F form submitted to the US SEC for the second quarter of this year, announced a notable investment. The bank reported that they have $187.79 million in Bitcoin ETFs through BlackRock, with over 5.5 million shares as of the 30th of June. This move places Morgan Stanley among the top 5 shareholders in BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, which stands out as the largest spot Bitcoin ETF with a market value of over $20 billion. So we've heard that Morgan Stanley has $187 million worth of Bitcoin, and Goldman Sachs, what was the number? $418 million US worth of Bitcoin, and the world yawned completely. Did not care, did not see any significance in this, and assumed that it was just some kind of fly-by-night kind of news. The institution, sorry if I sound gloomy and or down, it's not on purpose, but you have to understand that I've been in this space for so long, and I had a certain idea as to what crypto would look like, where Bitcoin would be, not price-wise, but more of a who it would be in the hands of. It would bring me so much joy if we heard that another $187 million worth of Bitcoin had been accumulated by people in Ecuador, in El Salvador, in parts of Africa, in Southeast Asia. Hearing that these institutions are able to A, buy so much Bitcoin, and B, go unnoticed, it kind of hurts. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I told you all before in a couple of other videos, like, that's why I do this channel. There's no need for the rich to become like aggressively, destructively richer. If we hear, for those of you who weren't here, there was another, somebody released their analytical charts and stuff like that, and they were talking about an altcoin. And they said that that altcoin might go from 30 cents to $50. You know, that's a dramatic increase. If you put in $333, you basically get 1,000 of them. It goes to 50. You base every $300, you're making $50,000. That's insane. The only people who are benefiting from this are the wealthiest people on the planet. It's the same loop over and over and over. This is great for adoption, but it's terrible for like wealth centralization once again. And as I always say, I know that a lot of people might be listening, might understand the words that I'm saying, but it's still so... Isn't anyone weirded out by any of this? Out of nowhere, the end of 2023, BlackRock and Fidelity are like, we love Bitcoin, Bitcoin amazing. They jump into the space head first, and then all the Bitcoin is just being bought up and accumulated by people who are the richest people on the planet. Everyone else is missing out on this chance. What will you do when Bitcoin goes to $1 million and you, your friends, and your family members don't have any, and you're looking over and you're just holding Worldcoin? What are people gonna do? Or like, you understand? Like, I feel like sometimes I'm saying it, but like my words aren't coming out correctly. It's kind of the same. I watched this video and they were talking about the last 15 to 20 years of the stock market. If you had bought Amazon, if you had bought Apple, if you bought Google, all these companies, and they showed like the massive, tremendous amount of growth of Tesla from the last 10 years and all. And like, it was literally nothing more than just buying and holding at a lower price. And there are tons of people who bought up so much of this stock at lower prices, and now, but like everyone else, you see what happened. Like I told you the story. I remember being in economics class when I was younger, and I was asking. I think the iPhone had like just come out, or the i something had just come out. I remember asking my teacher, and I was like, "Isn't it a good time to buy then?" And he was like, "Well, you know, you got to see what the next couple of years hold." And looking back at that, it's like, no, you idiot! Like you. Of course, you see that Apple's taking over the world. You see that every bank is buying. What do you need? What more do you need to like convince you of all this stuff that's going on? Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs. What was the other news that we just had? That like there's some other country who also has like I think almost 200 million in Bitcoin that was also just revealed. How are people, like normal people? No one's paying attention. What do you think is going on? What do you think is going to happen to prices and to the space as Bitcoin gets more and more finite? We're not even at the crazy 2032 halving, where the only thing that comes out as blocks are mined is just Satoshis. It's so weird. It's so odd. I'm telling you, these rich people are doing a tremendously fantastic job in making sure that the market doesn't move or even goes down on certain days to discourage people from actually getting into the market, from buying anything, from holding anything. We just had news that once again, the people who are selling are retail. This was like 2 or 3 days ago. The news that we're getting again is that the only people who are selling are retail investors. They're selling their coins back onto the market, and these coins are being purchased probably by Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. Anyway, yeah, another gigantic financial institution has almost $200 million worth of Bitcoin. I assume this didn't make news because it wasn't $17 billion. I'm not really sure. That's the Morgan Stanley news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in popular news, this is actual garbage. Like, this is hot, steaming, it's boiling outside, garbage sitting in the sun news. But people pretended that this was some kind of fantastic thing. Coinbase has announced a brand new project. They announced that they will be launching their own wrapped Bitcoin. This was one of the most popular news stories of the day. I'm not joking. Wrapped Bitcoin, for those of you who don't know, as Bitcoin only does 3 to 5 transactions per second, the idea is that you can wrap Bitcoin and or take the value of Bitcoin from the Bitcoin blockchain and lock it and use it in another platform. Basically, you would enter your Bitcoin into a smart contract, and on another chain that you wanted to use, Cardano, XRP, doesn't matter, you would basically then use the value of Bitcoin there. So you're wrapping up your Bitcoin, locking it away, and then transferring essentially the value onto another chain. So therefore you can use the value of Bitcoin as you wish on a quicker blockchain. This was created a number of years ago, and it has some kind of popularity, but not an egregious amount of popularity. The only reason why Coinbase keeps creating stuff is because they're looking for extra avenues of income. That's basically what it is. Coinbase keeps copying things and then telling other people that they're the first ones to do it. It's very similar to when they created their own chain called Base, which was a copy of Binance's Binance Smart Chain. And then the problem was, wink, as all these companies began to announce that they were working with Coinbase for their ETFs, that was the same exact time where Binance was forced to shut down a lot of their projects and a lot of the things that they were doing. So Binance got scrutinized, doing the exact same thing that Coinbase does and did. But whenever Coinbase makes something, people promote it as if it's like literally revolutionary. Wrapped Bitcoin already exists, but now Coinbase is literally creating something called Coinbase Wrapped Bitcoin, CBBTC. At this point, Coinbase is preparing to expand its footprint into the Bitcoin ecosystem by announcing the launch of this new coin that nobody wants, which could be a potential competitor to the already wrapped Bitcoin. Why would it? Why would that ever be a thing? It's kind of like, remember, haven't gotten any news for a while. Remember when we kept on getting all this hype news that Coinbase's chain Base had all this money and all these projects and all these things on top of it. And I told you before we got any of the news, I was like, it's them. They're putting their own money onto the chain to show that they have a huge amount of total value locked. I told you that it'll be companies who they work with who are going to be putting their coins on it and going, oh my gosh, look how much money they have. And then I said they're going to find another way to put more money on it. For those of you who don't know, Coinbase worked with the people from Circle and created the Circle coin together. What is it called? CBDC, ABDC, USDC. And then they announced early summer that they had even more money on chain because they took a whole bunch of the coin that they created and put it on the chain themselves. So now they're trying to create something basically to take money away from another company who invented and thought of something before. It's the same exact thing with stable coins. The reason why everyone had a problem with Tether is because Tether figured out a way to make a digital US dollar, and other companies didn't do the exact same thing. So whenever anyone makes anything in the space, everyone wants to copy them and say, well, we did it first and ours is better. No one even really uses wrapped Bitcoin. It's not like a necessity. It's a very niche kind of thing. And then having Coinbases, what's probably, hear me out here, what's probably going to end up happening is, listen to my words, Coinbase themselves has a large amount of Bitcoin. We don't know the exact number. I'm going to assume in the next couple of weeks, we are going to hear that Coinbase magically has 20, 30, 40,000 Bitcoin that are on the base chain and will be wrapped. And then people will be able to use wrapped Coinbase Bitcoin on the base chain to be able to trade in the value of Bitcoin. And the people will make publications talking about how revolutionary that this is, when all they're doing is trying to take money out of someone else's pockets. Jesse Pollack, the head of Coinbase and Coinbase's Layer 2 network Base, shared a post about CBBTC. While Coinbase hinted that the coin would be launched soon, he said they would have to establish a large Bitcoin economy system on the Base network first. It's almost like I'm psychic. Cool. Fantastic. I don't not like Coinbase. Let me be extremely clear. I know a lot of people love them. Oh my gosh, Coinbase is the best. It's so simple and blah, 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 blah. Coinbase has been in the space long enough to actually do good things for the ecosystem. But all Coinbase cares about at this point is Coinbase. They've made that abundantly clear once again since 2018, 2019, when they basically shunned normal people and said that everything was just going to be for institutions, forgetting that the first 10, 20, 30 million people on their platform were retail. That's the Coinbase is making a new coin that doesn't need to be created, and I give it 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to start hearing about how much usage this coin has, and it's going to be usage from other people who already told you before that they're using Base and how amazing and wonderful and fantabulous it is as well. Anywho, told you it's going to be a bit of a weird video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.